This episode of What If It's Cool is brought to you by Respro Clothing. Respro Clothing, where you can get the latest merchandise from all the stars, including Luke Resner, Som, Savannah Rowe, Nova Nichols, and my personal favourite, Conflict Axiom. So make sure you check out Respro Clothing. You can find them on Facebook and on Instagram. Hello and welcome to another episode of What If It's Cool, the show where we talk about anything and everything that is cool in the world today. I am not very violent at all, Daniel Crowe, and on this episode I have a sit-down interview with Micheal Weaver. We talk about the non-conventional way he got into the world of professional wrestling, the time he was pretty much retired, and we have a little bit of a debate about food. So sit back, relax, and enjoy to get that reaction with Micheal Weaver. Thank you so much for being part of the show. I know you are busy, and I know we've had to reschedule this a couple of times because me being ill and not being able to talk properly. But thank you for being part of the show.
No, thank you, Daniel. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate you reaching out, and we're organising this.
Well, you were like during lockdown, you were one of the. I think you were in the top two because it was you and Blake Curtis, who I saw on the APW shows I did reaction on. I did a live reaction on. And I just remember the first time I saw you, I was like, oh, he's a very, very big boy. But then you move like a fucking Quizerite, and I went, holy is this guy awesome? I was just mesmerized, and I always said if I ever got back into doing one of his called the podcast, like I got to get this guy on because I really want to chat to him because you're amazing.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Yeah, it's definitely something that I don't know where my agility came from. It was just very natural. I did a lot of martial arts as a kid, so I think that maybe a little bit of flexibility helped there. But it's just something that definitely helped me and allowed me to stand out of being able to, okay, obviously a lot of big guys and always their knackers or they move weird and you can't work around them. So being a big guy who could move is definitely a priority of going. I'm gonna make myself and my opponents look as good as possible. So.
Hmm. Well, before we get into your actual wrestling career, I want to actually just ask about your workout regimen because I know you just come back from the gym. Talk me through your workouts.
So I belong to like a circuit style gym in F45. They're big on culture and community. There's no mirrors, no egos. Which is when I was coming back. I'm not sure if many people know this. I wasn't injured. I took time away from wrestling because I gained a lot of weight. I wasn't happy with. We're talking about how good I moved. I stopped moving good. So it got to a point of like, well, I need to make a decision on whether wrestling is still for me.
Hmm.
And I got 2 years in, or almost 2 years to the break. At one point, I'm just like, I gained more weight and I was more or less retired. I didn't think I'd return to wrestling at all. And then I had some health concerns and I'm like, I need to make a change. Absolutely need to make a change. And then it kind of coincided with an absolute legend here in SA, the crazy Croatian Johnny Radic announcing his retirement. And he's a huge trainer of mine and a personal mentor and somebody who's given me a lot, especially early in my career. So it was one that I had to then go, well, I want one more with John. I have to have
Hmm.
one more. So my training went from let's change lifestyles to let's get back in the ring. So I train 4 times a week. I train Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and
Hmm.
Saturdays. Wednesdays I'll do a double session, so I'll do cardio and then a stretch class, trying to like build that flexibility up. So tonight was my strength. Saturday is also strength, so go in, do 45-minute circuit, smash some weights. The best thing about my gym is mostly old people, so I can walk in there like the biggest, toughest guy in the gym. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. All right. Well, how did you get into wrestling?
As a kid, or you mean into the business?
Well, let's just start off for what inspired you to get into the wrestling ring.
Yeah, so I just loved things as a kid. I just super loved it. I had some mates here who were doing some backyard stuff, and they eventually started working for Wrestle Rampage. So
Hmm.
I knew that the local wrestling scene existed, but not until like 2007. So I would have been 19 at the time. I was a big boy always, so I didn't think I was ever going to wrestle. And then I was lucky enough, I met Joel Bateman when he was living here. And Joel has been a continual pillar in my wrestling career. He took me for my very first training session on the oval across the road from his house.
All
We were
right.
doing rolls over like wooden fence and into the mud, and it was like a really light rain, and just every roll there was just that slap of that little bit of water on the ground. But that's how I broke in. Joel was running PWI here and started. I've said this before and in other podcasts as well. I
Mm.
got into wrestling very backwards. I started as a promoter level, like I was helping run, advertise. I was learning how to book. I was a ring announcer. I was a general manager before I'd even like stepped into a ring to wrestle.
Yeah.
So a lot of the strength of that is understanding storytelling at a booking level of going where do I need to be to move to the next level, to move to the next step, to hit the next story beats that we need. And that's definitely helped me then when I stepped into a ring, because I know, okay, well, this match needs something that leads and sets up for the next thing. What do we need from that? And I can look at things at a different level.
That's amazing. I can't even think of anybody who I've ever like witnessed go through that sort of stages in their wrestling career. But it sounds like it's helped you a long way in your career by doing that, because you have a more of an understanding of what needs to be happening. Or some people just do it on the fly and just, if it works, keep going at it. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that for sure.
So talk me about your debut match. When did it happen and how did it go?
So my debut match was March 11th, 2000. March 19th, 2011.
Mm-hmm.
It was at the Wallaroo Town Hall, which is a very small coastal town
I
on
am well
the
aware. I am well aware of that. I've worked in over there years ago. It's a very beautiful venue, but very small.
very, very small, yeah. So we were running PWI, and we had an evil manager at the time. And so he was leaving the company, but he had like done like an invasion stable kind of like we run the show. And so they needed a blow off. So he was going to leave the company. And so if he was going to be in the match, we needed the essentially the good guy counterpart, which was
Mm.
myself.
All right.
So we went to 4-on-4. So it was me, Zach with 2Ks, Jarek, who is now Chris Law, and Alexi Papadopoulos, which is Manos.
Right.
Yeah, so
Very,
that's a
very, very star-studded debut.
yeah, an eclectic team for sure. It was
Yeah.
very, very interesting. But I remember Joel was running music, and he my entrance he chose for that night was Final Countdown, actually, as a little laugh between us two. So that was a bit of fun. And I remember the first thing I went out there, I went hit a couple of people, nice and simple, got cut off, went to get my head slammed into the canvas on the outside. And I had my hands like this, and I head butted the ring of the edge of the ring, and that was the very first thing I
Oh,
did in a wrestling ring.
wow. Did you cut yourself? Or
No,
is
I
just
was all right. I did definitely had some saw some stars, but
yeah.
honestly, that day I was so nervous. I was just going through spells. I'd go at the back and then just smash squats. I'm just fired up. And then I'd just get to a point of like, I wanted a nap. Could not control my nerves the entire time, no matter what I did. So I got out there, I blew up very quickly just because I couldn't control myself. I was so nervous. The adrenaline was just pumping. But I finished the match with a big splash.
Yep.
So I debuted and got the win in the main event in my very first match.
Wow. Oh, and you're on the main event as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. That's absolutely amazing. You had, you know, three legends in the ring so far, and you're in the main event. Fan for you. That is a great way to make your debut in wrestling. Now we had a family member of mine, a very famous time traveling family member of mine, Adam Crowe, and he told me about because I mentioned how in some of the videos I've seen of you, your chops are almost on the same par as Walter, or what's he now called, Gunther, the from WWE. And I just remember just seeing it the first time I ever saw you was I can't remember which APW show, but I remember it was so fucking loud. I went, oh my god.
But he said you had a bolt in your hand or in your arm somewhere.
Yeah, so I was training in 2011. It was September. We're doing some shoot wrestling, some martial arts drills, and a mate of mine, Moz, God rest his soul, um, went for like a spinning armbar, and I had my hands on the canvas, and he landed square on my arm, and he just snapped it. And at the moment, I didn't even notice, but there was a friend of mine on the outside. His name's Jared, and he blew out his leg, like full shattered all the way down, major like hospital. So he was like, Weaver's broken his arm, Weaver's broken his arm. And I remember I went up to him and I'm just like, I'm in the ring. And I'm just going, no, I haven't. I lifted my arm and I just went, "Ugh." I knew at that moment, yeah, no, I've broken my arm. So I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it, but I got see that scar there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there's two steel plates and 14 pins holding my left forearm together. Harley Race only had 12 pins in his arm. So I'm just saying I'm 2 pins better than Harley Race.
Oh my God. Hang on, I got to ask it because I've never broken a bone in my body, but I've dislocated parts of my shoulder in the past. Does it having a bolt in your arm now? When you do a chop, is it? Can you feel it, or is it's just like normal?
I chop right-handed, so I don't really notice.
Oh, okay.
I will tell you, I do have issues with my wrists, especially in certain like workouts. Just you'll probably out hear it.
Dude,
Yeah, it'll do that 24/7. It just never quite healed perfectly. It's fine, it's strong, but it's just like certain things like front squats I tend to do across my chest. I can't hold it just because they're a bit sore on the wrists. So
I am so shocked at that. Like, does it hurt when you do that too, or it's just like it's normal?
It will eventually. Like if I do it enough, it'll be like sore, but it doesn't hurt.
Okay, because oh man, I mean my left knee does click every now and again, not regularly like that, but that's because I have arthritis in both my knees.
Yeah,
but I feel it every time it does click, I feel it. So I'm just surprised that you don't feel anything there. Have the doctor said that they could fix it or anything, or they just went nah?
It's one of those ones that is in theory fixed. There's nothing really wrong with it. It's
Yeah.
just when I broke it, the hospital that I went through didn't offer me proper rehab. So it just
right.
wanted so that all the healing processes probably didn't get strengthened the way it needed to when it was fresh. But generally it's fine. Like I have no real major concerns whatsoever. So
All right. Well, speaking of injuries, what is the worst injury? Was it the broken arm, or was there something else that we've not heard of yet?
um it's interesting. I'd say broken arm definitely has to be the one because it's like it was surgery. Like I was in hospital for 3 days. Got my arm cut open, pieced back together. The most visceral I probably ever had was Adam Crowe. We were doing a big program in SA, and he did a taupe, and he was wearing a pair of chinos with a belt, and his belt caught my ear and pulled it off my head. Uh, so I had a hole basically where the top of my ear was supposed to connect to my head, where he'd almost tried to remove my ear from my face. That took about 9 stitches to get back on. That's probably the most like visceral. Like I've been cut, I've been bloodied, I've luckily never had any staples or anything like that. But one of my favorite ones was the first DMDU show I did. I've done a lot of barbed wire. I think barbed wire is the best weapon. It's versatile, it's visceral, it's aesthetic, it's so good.
Yeah.
But I took a double suplex from raw beef into this barbed wire board, and I had one piece go in this way and one go in this way, so I couldn't pull it out because it would just pull on the other side. So I'm just calling the Jay. I'm like, you got to pull from both ends because I couldn't reach to get it out.
Oh my God! Hang on. I know you listed it why you like it, but what was it? A match that got you to love barbed wire, or do you just what is it? Because it's like out of all the weapons, I can't fathom why barbed wire would be it.
Yeah, I think like I don't know. I can't say a specific match,
Mm.
but definitely some of those Terry Funk, Mick Foley, like the one where they have to get their hair cut out of their hair. Like it's just such a visual thing of just seeing someone wrapped in barbed wire. Um, the Mick Foley edge, the spear where he takes the shirt off.
Oh
Like
yeah,
there's some great moments, and it's so visual. And barbed wire is one of those things you can't fake it. Everybody knows what it feels like. Everybody will be able to see if it doesn't do what it's supposed to do. So you can't fake barbed wire.
yeah.
And that's what I love about it because you can wrap it on something. One of my favorite spots I ever did was against Adam Crowe. I wrapped it on a chair, but we instead of having the chair stay permanently shut, we did it so we could open it. And I gave him a big sidewalk slam on it and just split the chair. But it was one of those things no one had ever seen before because I hadn't seen it, and it was just super visual, super clean, super easy. But it was got a huge reaction because it's so aesthetic, and that's why I love barbed wire. It's just clean, man. I love it.
Just when you said you can't fake it, the first thing that came in my head years ago, I was at BCW here in Melbourne, and Sabu was taking on Mad Dog, and oh god, it still lives rent free in my head, and I've got the footage to prove it. Mad Dog just chucked Sabu in there, and he went back of the head first, and a huge chunk, probably about from my fist to my elbow of Sabu's hair was laying there, and maybe even like a little bit of his scalp. And I just lost my shit. Oh my god, I can't do this. I had my hands over my eyes for a couple of minutes. I just could not fathom that much violence at the time. But
Yeah, and that's the like everybody who ever asked me like, why do you do death matches? It's that reaction. It's right, your reaction right there, because that is something that you can't force.
mm,
You with wrestling, it's all about playing on emotions and generating genuine reactions. You can't fake what you went through. There is no way to force that. It has to be genuine and it has to be organic. And that's why I love death matches because you can't fake it. You can't force it. It is genuine, organic. You see the glass hit you, see the body split open. Like you just watch it happen in front of you. And that's everybody who ever asked me like, why do you do this stupid? It's like because of the reaction you gave me when I did them.
okay, because I've had a few people who do death matches here, and I've had various answers to that question. And I think that's probably the closest one I can really understand because like as a former actor and as a former entertainer as well, I would do things on stage and I would try to do something in my performance that would get a reaction out of somebody, maybe from the actor, maybe from the audience. It didn't matter. And people would just ask me, "Why'd you do that?" I was just like, "Because I want to get that reaction." But and if that's for you, you're doing it. Like I can totally understand why, and I think I have more just hearing your answers tonight. I now have a more appreciation for death matches. Like I've said multiple times, I'm not a big fan of death matches. I've seen, I think, I'm going to say three in person. I've seen obviously a lot on YouTube and stuff, and obviously on IWTV, which you guys should definitely check out because it's a great app. I think it's $14.95 per month, and you get a load of wrestling content there. That's a cheeky plug, but like looking at it and just the way you do it, I'm coming around to it now, and I can't wait to see your match at DMDU. Now, when this comes out, this episode comes out, obviously this match will come, but you're taking on Vixen in a death match.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
when this comes out, I'll be the world deathmatch champion, right?
That's right. Yeah, the funny thing is, the previous episode I had Vixen on here, and I didn't ask her that. She's probably going to kill me when she hears this, but but you've been in a lot of death matches, but what has been that one death match moment for you over your career? If you could define one moment that you just got like that's always going to live rent free in your head.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really good one. I probably go my favorite death match that I've done is barbed wire Lego Thumbtack 2. So it was the culmination of a 17-month program that I did here with Acid Hayes, the PWSA champion now. He wasn't then. Really incredible talent, like super underrated, phenomenal talent. And him and I had done 17 months to the point of we did an abduction angle that had the police actually come down to training to ask us questions because they had people like call in enough complaints. Like
Wow.
there was genuine heat from the fans, and it was incredible. And him and I went probably 35 minutes. Really big, like elaborate entrance. I was the Messiah at the time, so I was running like an evil cult. So I had all my cult members like carrying candles around the ring. It was very very visual and very aesthetic, but the violence was top notch. I took a Canadian destroyer into barbed wire board. Um, Curb stomp onto Legos from the top, like just really violent. But one of the biggest ones we did is we got mini cricket bats and they were glued with thumbtacks and we just hit each other repeatedly. And
No.
that was one of the worst things that I've had in wrestling. Like that hurt so bad. And my whole arm swelled up, but because there were like all the little holes, all those swelled on top of the welt. So I had like this bump where you could see like 60 little holes all down
Yeah.
my arm for like 3 weeks. That match itself, just the emotion, the meaning behind it, and just the level of violence we brought to what is Peter Bosé is generally a very family friendly show. So that is definitely probably my favorite death match that I've done.
Man, and I thought Jordan Sampson coming in with some nunchucks with barbed wire over it was hardcore. Jesus Christ. Is there any way I could see that match? Is that on
Yeah. I've got it privately listed on my YouTube. I'll send it to you.
All right, yeah, no, because I'd love to see that because as much as like I said, I'm still coming around to death matches. I'm actually really excited to see that, especially with the Lego and the cricket bats.
Yeah,
Jesus.
that's where I'm not a big fan of the US indie style death matches where it's death match for the sake of death match.
Mm.
I want story. I want meaning. I want one of my biggest pet peeves, and I know a lot of people do it, and I'm probably going to get a little bit of hate about it. I don't like the crack it over your head. I don't want to get cut open with glass. My whole objective is to cut you open with glass. I don't want to do it. Why am I going to do it to myself? I'm already tough. I know this. I'm in this match. So that's a big one for me is there is a reason I'm in this match. And the same as I'm going against Vix. I love Vix. I think she's amazing. But in that match, I'm not going to do anything stupid to hurt myself and potentially get me to lose that match.
Yeah,
I'm there for one reason, and that's the DMDU Deathmatch Championship.
yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. If it's going to be a death match, I want to have a story with it. I think now that I think of it the way you just said, I think that might be one of the biggest reasons why I'm not big into deathmatch wrestling because like I watch a lot of the GCW style death matches and also the ICW one of their tournaments that they've done in the last couple of years. And my biggest it's like I don't why are they fighting? I get it, it's a tournament, but do they hate each other? Like it's just it just doesn't
Tournaments are a little bit different because obviously the objective is you want to win the tournament. So there's still the rhyme and a reason. It's just the one of the throwaway ones. But if you got like really good story, Callan Butcher versus Guido, their whole program in DMDU, which is available on IWTV, is phenomenal. Their final match is insane, just pure chaos. But that is something that I was really lucky to be involved with right at the beginning. We had that 6-man tag at the very first Not Here Fighters, where I cut a promo, and that promo kind of kick-started everything. And Callan is somebody who I know he's enjoying his retirement, but if there's one match left in him, hopefully he's got my name. So.
Well, Callan, I know you are enjoying your retirement, but I'd definitely love to see you one more time. Properly, because the last time I went to see you were just making an appearance. You didn't actually wrestle on the show, so I haven't actually got to see you live yet. So I'd really love to see that. And seeing you and Micheal here, I think there's money on the table there. Definitely. Now, I want to talk about your relationship with my family member Adam Crowe, because he said some very naughty things in the recent episode of Heat with him and Valito. And he said that he's kicked your head in several times.
I think my rebuttal is, as much as he likes to think he's kicked my head in, I would like to remind him how many times I've chopped his face off. The amount of times where I've had his chin bruised on my bicep from a lariat is more times than he can count. I could show you Adam's very first match where I spine busted him several times and finished him with a double underhook pile driver. So we can very much show you the amount of like Adam. I am very proud of Adam, and I think he's come a long way. And is Adam is your long distant cousin. Adam is more or less my surrogate stepson. I love Adam. But at the same thing, as he is my surrogate stepson, I will take the belt off and I'll beat him just like a step pappy would. So he can call me out all he wants. I'll take this belt off, mate, and I'll give you a whooping.
Well, he did mention on his episode that you, him, and Matty Wild were in a match. Now, he did mention that Matty said he reckon it would be an honor to get chopped by you, and I have confirmed with him that that was true, and I still think he's paying for saying that. I've now watched the match before we got on tonight. It was that hard to watch. Great match, like absolutely great match. It's hard to watch, especially the last 5 minutes. Talk me through it, because it is one of the. It's quite possibly my favorite match of yours, but it's also scary because now I've said this before that I have 5 people who I'm scared of in wrestling, and they are Vixen, Mad Dog, Gore, Crackerjack, Edward Dusk, and now I have a 6th member, Michael Weaver. Because literally, and that's not in the order. That's just people I'm scared of. But that especially those last 5 minutes has scared me. The chops that you did to Matty's back as well. My God, I don't even know why he said he wanted to do it. But talk me through this match.
Yeah, so that was an interesting time for me. I was 2000. I think that was the end of 2018, early 2019.
So I think 2019. I think it said on the on the cue card.
So I was going through a period there where I was very not disillusioned, but I had been busting my ass essentially for 10 years at wrestling at that point. I didn't feel like I was getting the respect or the notoriety I deserved. So going into that, I was angry, and I was trying to prove a point. And I'll admit, I probably have a little bit of regret in the beating I gave to those two, but credit to them. Like Matty Wild and Adam Crowe, absolute champs. Like they fought tooth and nail, and there's a couple of times where I thought they had me. Like genuinely thought if it wasn't for my experience and being able to isolate them for as long as I could, I reckon the two of them could have beaten me on any other day. It was just I was on my A game and I was determined to beat them. And unfortunately for them, I beat them senseless.
Yeah, with those chair shots, with that to Adam, oh my God, that's quite possibly one of the most scariest chair shots I've ever seen in Australian wrestling. There's been a lot, but that one because it's obviously a family member of mine. I have to see him get his ass kicked and that was just very hard to watch. But
I call that the guillotine concerto, and that's actually the last one I've done. Funny story is I wrestled Vixen for APW probably about a year and a half later, or maybe later that year. And just the respect that Vix gave me and somebody that I respected so much gave that back to me was very much a turning point in me and my APW career of going, okay, maybe I don't have to be so angry. Maybe I don't have to take it out. Maybe I am actually starting to get the notoriety and legacy that I was aiming for. So yeah, I haven't busted that one out since, but I do have the death match coming up. Maybe it's time to dust off the double chairs and put Vix's throat and crack her in the back of the skull.
That's definitely going to be an interesting match, and I definitely will be there. Hopefully, by the time this episode comes out, it will be on IWTV. If not, I will definitely plug the shit because like I said on Instagram, it is a dream match. And I didn't know that you guys had fought before. And when I was going through the APW listings, I did see that it is on there, so I'm going to check that out tonight. But I want to, speaking of dream matches, there's one that is coming up, and again, because this is going to come out later, it's already happened. But you're having a match with the beautiful Blake Curtis, and like I said, so for some of the first reaction videos that we've been doing of APW stuff, you two were what people are saying out. Also, Tom Barrett was another one. What is going to be your strategy going in with Blake Curtis?
I just want to say something. I'm incredibly taken back by the progress that Blake Curtis has taken. Obviously, it's been 3 years since I was at APW, so and I took and then a big part of that was the time off. And then obviously you guys had rolling lockdown, so it made it incredibly difficult to actually come into the state whenever you guys were open. So having seen him from he was I believe he was breakout champion, and seeing what his progression to what he is now is, he's MXW tag team champion, he's former APW tag team champion. He's very good. He is strong, and he's quick. And at the moment, I don't have that mobility that I once did. So that's going to be a test to see if I can keep up with him. But my strategy is I'm going to have my eyes in the back of my head. Conflict Axiom are going to be at Rickside. You know it. I know it. So it's going to have to come down to how quick can I get that lariat off? Because I know if I hit it, he's done. It's that simple. I'll take your head off. You're done. See you later. I've put down the Mad Dog. I've put down Sid Parker. Lariat 1, 2, 3. You're done. So I just need, my strategy is to hit that as early as possible. Go home. See you later. Cash my check. Fuck you, Conflict Axiom.
And just make sure you watch out for that bitch, James Marshall. Speaking of James Marshall, use the hashtag James Marshall Interface. Let's make it happen. Because he's very sneaky, especially when Blake's involved. He likes to get involved in those matches. So, yeah, if you see him, just use Lariat and take his head off.
Oh, there's a couple of chops with his name on it coming for sure.
Now, I do want to talk about your break, and I know we've talked a little bit, but I want to sort of expand upon it. What were the events that led to you coming to the decision to step away for a bit?
A lot of it was I wasn't enjoying wrestling anymore. I'd hit my 10 years. It was 2021, so 2011 was my first. So I'd hit 10 years in wrestling since my first match, 13 years since I broke into the business. And I was just got to a point where I'm like, I don't know if I want to keep doing this anymore. I just wasn't enjoying it. And part of that is I gained weight, so my matches weren't very good. And a big part of like when I first broke into the business, I got a lot of heat early because I was killing the business. I was this fat guy. I shouldn't have been a wrestler. So a lot of my motivation to get as good as I got was out of spite. And I kept myself at a really high standard, because if I couldn't perform at that standard, then I was letting the doubters win. So when it came to 2011, I'm like, these matches aren't up to my standard. I need to make a decision. I'm not really enjoying wrestling. My matches aren't good enough. It's time for me to step away and just reevaluate.
Yeah.
And my goal when I stepped away was I'm going to lose some weight. I'm going to get back into better shape, and I'm going to get back in the ring. That didn't happen. I got in much worse shape. And then it wasn't until I thought I was having a heart attack that I decided, I need to make some life changes.
Yeah. Man, I'm surprised that you got hate early on in your career. I would have thought you would have been celebrated. Because how many big men do we actually really have who can actually move? Like the first person that comes to mind is like Bam Bam Bigelow, Vader. Like, we haven't had that sort of caliber of wrestler in a very, very long time. They should be embracing that, not on you at all, and those guys for being that way. But the good thing is you used it in a way to get yourself over, get yourself, just to be great. It's just a shame that obviously after the 10-year market, there was stuff going on. But kudos for you for actually taking that time away to get yourself right. I know it didn't pan out the way you wanted to, and then obviously you had that a little bit scared of the heart attack, but now you're coming back, and I think that's great. It's definitely a great story, and hopefully it's going to inspire people who hear this story.
Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. It just comes down to like all I had to do was that was my rock bottom. Hearing my kids cry themselves to sleep thinking I was going to die that day it was my wake up call of going, okay, I need to make changes, and not just for myself, but for my family as well. But it was one of those ones like people didn't care about my matches. People didn't want to watch my matches. They just saw what they saw on a poster or on a photo. It's like, this guy's fat. He shouldn't be in a ring. Also, the other little thing is I was a big indie guy. Like I loved like 2003 to 2007 ROH. So a lot of the stuff that I was trying to do at that time hadn't really caught on in SA yet. SA,
Yeah.
I always found it to be about 20 years behind the times. So we're starting to get all that 2003 WWE stuff, like the stuff that's really good come through. So a lot of those. So that's really cool to see in like the crowds and some of the older people are starting to really see how good that generation of wrestling was. But when I first came in, it was very still early 90s, a lot of cartoon characters, which I didn't fit that mold. I grew up on WCW, so you didn't have that. Kevin Nash, Goldberg. I mean, Hollywood Hogan was probably the closest thing to a character, and even then, he wasn't a dumpster man. Like he wasn't like a clown. It was so me, and then getting into the Indies and getting into Japan and the Japanese stuff. I saw my favorite quote, and I'm gonna just change the ramble for a second.
Yeah.
Is Eddie Kingston said, "I can't make you believe in pro wrestling, but I can make you believe in me." And that is how I've wrestled from day one. It's like, you're going to come watch my matches and you're going to walk out of that show going, I know it's fake, but I think he hurt him.
That's exactly why I was drawn to you when I first saw you on. I think it was Ground Zero or was it Ground Zero or Pandemonium? I can't remember which one it was. And I was like, this guy's amazing. And that quote rings true because, like, literally, I mean, we all know it's a show, we all know that, but especially if you get a rile out of me, especially with that triple threat with Adam and Matty, like, that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I want people to believe that I am who I say I am. Heavy set violence, as much as it's very catchy, it describes me to a T. I am a big guy and I like to throw. And I'll throw hands, I'll throw chops, I'll throw bombs. And if you don't come, you step in that ring and you're gonna throw like dust. Just gonna bulldoze you. It's that simple. You gotta step up to my level or you're going to cave.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll come to the staple question here. What if it's cool? What is something that you find cool that nobody else does?
Ooh, that's interesting. I don't think that nobody does find it cool, but I am a huge D&D nerd. Love Dungeons and Dragons. I'm currently playing and DMing a system based around Star Wars called SW5E. It's a fantastic system, very good mechanics, makes you feel really like powerful at a low level, and you can do some pretty cool shit. So yeah, SW5E for everyone who wants to play some Star Wars based Dungeons and Dragons. That's what I think is cool.
Wow, I mean, I haven't played Dungeons and Dragons in years, but that actually really sounds cool. I love Star Wars as well, so yeah. Hang on, speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, the movies. So not the recent one, but the first two movies that they made back in the early 2000s. What did you think of those?
I mean, they're not great. They're not. This new one was fantastic. Like let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, it was.
It was fantastic. I took my kids; they loved it. I loved it. I thought it was brilliant. I got a real kick out of the throwback to the old cartoon. It was so good. The old ones aren't great, but if you look at them as D&D movies, you're going to be disappointed. If you look at them as fantasy action movies, they're passable. Even then, I don't really want to fully commit to it, but they're not dreadful. They're just not good.
Yeah. Well, the second one was terrible. The first one I loved. I think I was Oh, I'm gonna be out myself on this one. I think I was the only one at the cinema. I was to watch the first one, and I thought it was actually fantastic. And I didn't go in thinking it's going to be a D&D movie. I thought it was just going to be because I'll be honest, the main reason I wanted to watch it was because the guy who was the main person in there was the guy who played Jimmy Olsen in Lois and Clark. And I love that. I love that guy. So I was like, yeah, I've got to get on there. And then having Marlon Wayne's in there as well was awesome.
I had a similar experience watching Return of the King. I went. It's like school holidays when I was 15. I remember going in at like an 11 a.m. session, and I was like the only person in the cinema for Return of the King. And I'm like, this is like one of the greatest movies of all time. Like, how am I the only person in the cinema?
How is that even possible? Like, I remember when that came out. Well, but maybe because it was Adelaide, but like I remember every session I went to because I saw it 3 times in the cinema. It was packed. Like literally, it was always sold out when I got there. How is that possible? It is absolutely great film, and the extended version is even better.
I think it's because I went on like a Wednesday or something because it was middle of school holidays. So
But that doesn't even make sense because school holidays, you expect a couple of kids will be in there.
I think so. Yeah, I was the only one in.
Yeah,
Went in with my old trick was there was the Hoyt Cinema at Tea Tree Plaza, which if you're from Adelaide, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's a Subway at the bottom of the stairs, so I'd always just go in a big jumper, put a footlong sub in my jumper, and then just eat a footlong sub while watching a movie. It's way better than popcorn.
I don't know. I love my popcorn though, man. That's I don't know if I did, hang on. It's always evolving around food. This podcast. What kind of sub are you bringing in there?
Ooh, these days I'm gonna
Yeah.
go a chicken and bacon ranch on Italian, toasted.
Yeah.
Tomato, capsicum, and onion before it goes in the toaster. Mozzarella cheese.
Yeah.
Then afterwards, spinach, cucumber, extra pickles, blue cheese, Southwest sauce.
Blue
salt,
cheese?
pepper.
What the hell?
Blue cheese dressing and Southwest sauce, mate.
Oh,
and the
man.
salt,
Okay.
Ooh, so good. So good.
It's making me hungry, but like who the hell has blue cheese? Like, I don't know.
Blue cheese dressing, man. It adds a tang.
Yeah, I know. It's just so I don't know. Maybe it's a Melbourne thing. It's so niche over here, but I don't know.
You guys have pineapple with your subs. That's weird.
Hang on. Don't get me started on pineapple on sub. That is the best thing that you can have in your sub.
I pineapple on pizza is mandatory. Like I will not.
Thank you.
I
finally have another person who agrees with me on that one.
But just pineapple on a sub just seems weird because I don't generally. I would have it on a burger. Like I love grilled pineapple on a burger. On a sandwich, I've just never had pineapple on a sandwich. And I tried it a couple of times that I've tried in Melbourne. And I'm like, nah, I'll stick with what I got.
It probably depends on what you're having in it. I think because like if I was to say, I don't know, have the like a. Let's say roast lamb or something on my sub or something like that. If it's not chicken, it just doesn't work. I think, and I'm not saying like all the chicken there because Subway has multiple chickens. I think it's only good with the schnitzel and the I don't know what they're called now, but it was like the southern like it was like popcorn
the
chicken.
southern chicken bite things.
Yeah, that's the only good thing with the.
It's essentially KFC popcorn chicken.
Yeah, but softer and I don't know, somehow better, in my opinion.
That's the one thing about the schnitzel that it doesn't get me. It's like I don't want soggy breadcrumbs.
You don't like it?
I don't like soggy breadcrumbs. If I'm having a schnitzel, I want it to be at least like golden brown.
Wait, so like, hang on, because like a lot of parmas have soggy breadcrumbs. Can you do you not?
No, but
like
they're at least cooked, and it's parmy, by the way.
No.
At least they're like that's a bit different though, because like you at least been cooked to the point it was golden brown.
Yeah.
So there was at least at one point it was cooked and not soggy.
All right. Okay, that's fair. All right, I'll give you that. It's Parma, by the way.
Parmy.
Oh god. I keep forgetting how backward South Australia is.
Maybe.
Not that I'm bagging South Australia. Oh, yeah, I'll bag a South Australia. I'm not gonna lie. I was there for 6 months. I worked there. And I hated the fact that most stuff was closed at 8 o'clock. I don't know if it's still like that now, but this is going back.
No, they're open till 9 now.
Oh, open till 9 now? Hang on. Are the
Yeah.
pubs open like late this time or they're not? Because that's the one
Yeah,
thing that
pubs
pissed me
are
off.
generally open to. It depends on the day, but we have lockout law at like 3. So as long as you're in by 3, or you can't. If you leave, you can't get back in.
Yeah. No.
So generally, most places will be open. If it's like Tuesday, you'll probably get shut about midnight, 1 o'clock. But it depends on the pub and it depends on what you are and what day of the week it is.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, I don't drink anymore, but I remember I was 21 at the time. And literally just finished my dinner and I was like, oh, I might go get a drink or something. And the pub was closed at 9 o'clock. I was like, what the f? Come on. Like, seriously?
Yeah, some of them will close pretty early, but like you should at least be able to find one in the local area that's probably open till probably 2, 3 a.m.
No, there was none. No, well, at least not where I was because I was near the, and I'm going to have to bleep this one. I was near the at the time, which, says it all.
Oh, like right in the city, in the middle of the city.
Yeah. And it's.
So I reckon if you had turned left, gone down to Hindley Street, turned left, I reckon you would have found something.
Yeah, but I didn't have a car at the time. I had to walk everywhere because I was just doing training and stuff like that for 6 months. It sucked. Like literally, there was nothing I could really do over there except for just play with my laptop and watch movies. That was it.
You're based in the CBD, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, Hindley Street is the I guess the hub of Adelaide entertainment, at least the nightlife side. That's where you're going to find the strip clubs, the prostitutes, the massive amounts of ODs. That's where you go.
Yeah, all the things that I don't do. So,
you said you wanted entertainment, Daniel.
Nice, clean entertainment, mate. Nice, clean entertainment. I would like to have, not not the simple ways of Adelaide, as they say.
Nothing.
Oh,
strippers
God.
in a nice pipe.
No, I'll be flat and honest. I'm going to openly admit this. I've never been to a strippers, and I never plan to go to a strippers. Not that I condone or anything. I just can't do it. Just physically can't do it.
Yeah, that's fair. They're expensive and probably not really worth it.
Well, there was a line from a TV series called Coupling from the UK, and it so rings true to me. I can't believe I'm going to say this on the show, but it's porn that can see you.
That's a good line. That's a very good line.
But ever since I heard that, like, yeah, I really can't do it. And everyone says, I know, say that line, and it goes, oh, you get past it. No, I can't. Let's do that. Yeah. All right. Well, Michael, where can we find you on all your socials?
See, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Not very good with any of them, but you'll be able to find me. I believe should be heavyset violence on everything. I think Twitter is HVY set violence just because there's a character limit. But other than that, I should be pretty easy to find. But yeah, Instagram's probably the one that I update the most. My Facebook was pretty much unused, and my Twitter is something that is usually an afterthought.
Fair enough. Well, links on the description for that, guys. And hopefully, no. Let's be positive. By the time this comes out, your new DMDU Deathmatch champion, Michael Weaver.
Yeah.
Michael, thank you for being part of What If It's Cool.
Yeah, anytime, Daniel. Thank you very much.
Anytime.
And that's the end of that episode. Want to be featured on What If It's Cool or know someone with an amazing story that needs to be told? Reach out to me. I can be reached on whatifitscoolbusiness@gmail.com. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts. Want more for What If It's Cool? Make sure to check out the YouTube channel where you can find the latest episodes of Mukbanging Around, Reaction, and of course the podcast. And don't forget to follow What If It's Cool on all socials. It can be found at What If It's Cool. Keep that support coming. And until next time, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.